One of the most common complaints I get from people who use Excel is that they have a hard time entering in numbers that begin with a leading zero. For example, zip codes for cities and towns in the northeastern United States, which all begin with a zero. In this movie, I will show you how to manage values that start with a zero using several different methods. For my sample file, I will use the Leading Zeros workbook, which you can find in the Chapter 1 folder of your exercise files archive. So once again, my goal is to enter in values that start with a zero and have Excel leave the zero in the value. In case you're not familiar with what happens when you enter in a value that starts with a zero, I'll show you. First thing to notice is that in cell E2, the format is set to general. So in cell E2, I'll type in, I don't know the proper zip code for Berkshire, Connecticut, so I'll type in 01234 and press enter. When I do, Excel removes the leading zero and just has the number 1234. And I'll press Ctrl Z to undo that entry. So how do I make Excel understand that I'm entering a number with a leading zero? The first way to do it, and the quickest, is to add a single apostrophe before the value. That forces Excel to treat the value as text. So for example, in cell E2, I could type an apostrophe, or a single quote if you prefer, and then 01234, press enter, and the value stays the same. Note there is an error flag, this little green flag, at the top left corner, and when I click it, it says that there's a number stored as text. If I click Convert to Number, however, it reverts back to 1234, which is what I don't want. And I'll press Ctrl Z a couple of times to get rid of the entry. You can also format a cell that contains a postal code or a number that begins with 0 as text. So for example, I can select cells E2 through E4, which should all contain a postal code, and then on the Home tab of the ribbon, click the Number Format Controls down arrow, click More Number Formats, click Text, and click OK. Now when I enter a value into cell E2, 01234, the value is stored as text, but I get the same error message that I had before. I'll press Ctrl Z again, and again. So the cell is now empty, and it's back to the general format. Finally, and this is useful in the case of postal codes, is you can set the cell's format to a zip code. If you're outside the US, you have similar settings based on whatever your regional settings are on your computer or in your copy of Windows or Mac OS. But in this case, what I want to do is set the format to zip code. So I'll select cells E2 through E4, click the Number Format Controls down arrow. Again, that's on the Home tab. Click More Number Formats. This displays the Format Cells dialog box, specifically the Number tab. Click the Special category, and then you see you have 4 special types, and again, these are for US regional settings. I have zip code, zip +4, phone number, or social security number. In this case, I have a 5-digit zip code, and that's the type that's highlighted. When I click OK, Excel applies that formatting to those cells. So I'll click cell E2, type in 01234, and the value is stored the way it should be. And just to show that it works for all the cells, for Vermont, I'll just type in 02345, and for Bangor, Maine, 00123. So just to recap, if you want to enter in a value with a leading zero, you can type a single apostrophe and then the value. That forces Excel to recognize the value as text. You can format the cell so that it accepts text values, or if you're entering zip codes in the United States, you can do so by using the Special category in the Number Format box and set it to the special zip code format, which you can use to accept the values without any error flags appearing.